You guys good? I want to make sure. All right, so very quickly, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to be here, your interest in Michigan State special teams. There's a lot going on here on campus right now in athletics, right? Men's basketball playing here Friday, I believe. Women's basketball had a really great run. Hockey's kicking butt right now. Okay, and then lo and behold, we have Coach D'Antonio here at practice today. So pretty exciting times, a lot going on here. And right now, just special teams wise, we're building. We're trying to figure out exactly who we are, what we want to do schematically, the personnel, trying to push all that forward. Everything's brand new for everybody, but guys are working and pushing forward, doing a really good job. So if any questions you guys may have, I'd be happy to answer.
You mentioned, obviously Michigan State's history with punting and some of the specialists that they've had over the years. What makes a good special teams unit in your eyes, and how do you kind of take what you did at Iowa and implement it with that?
Yeah, I think right off the bat, you bring up a very good point with the punters and the specialists that have been here. You talk about guys like Ryan Eckley, who I saw up close and personal last year. Same thing with Bryce Behringer. Both those guys were here yesterday. So I think it's a unique situation. Our guys get to watch them and learn from them. Go back to earlier days of Sadler, right, and go back even a little bit further with other guys. You go back to the kickers, right? I saw Jonathan Kim up close and personal when I was coaching at Iowa. Was in camp with Paul Ettinger, and then obviously everyone knows Mortensen, right? So that's there's a lot of rich tradition and history here with specialists, and I think here at Michigan State we're just trying to live up to that. And where can we make our mark and put ourselves in that position? I think what makes a good specialist, right? First off, you have to be able to play in the elements. If you want to win a championship, right, at any level of college football right now, you have to be able to do it in the elements. Okay, there's no better training ground for that than one, the Big Ten Conference, and then two, Michigan State University, because you have to deal with the elements, right? So that's one part, and then the rest comes in all the technical stuff: your hands, your feet, leg strength, okay, your mindset, and those are all things that we're working on in training right now.
What made you want to come to Michigan State and join Pat Fitzgerald's staff? Was the history part of it? And I guess to give us sort of an overview of what drew you here.
Yeah, so the history, I'll be very honest, I took this job sight unseen. Okay, and I've said that I intentionally didn't look at schools, didn't look at the town, didn't look at the university per se, other than playing here, playing against coaching here. But I did that because I wanted to finish everything I was doing at Iowa, and I wanted to be present there at Iowa for the players, my family, Coach Ferentz. I wanted to be present there. But the reason I ended up taking this position was opportunity, and I felt like going with Coach Pat Fitzgerald. Right, he's a proven winner in the conference, a guy that I believe in. You guys have gotten a chance to be around him, and he's very energetic, right? It's an opportunity to learn from someone else and continue to coach from someone else. And the part that I was really surprised by when I got here was the fan support is unbelievable. It took me about 3 days. We dropped right in. First day of work was the start of the portal. So that was chaotic to start with, right? Like, that's unprecedented times. You were signing 36 or so people, maybe even more than that, like the unprecedented times in college football. Then you add in, okay, we're going to go take these recruits to a basketball game. Okay, so we go to Breslin, and I get introduced to Michigan State basketball very quickly. Man, that was unbelievable, amazing. Coach Izzo's done an amazing job. Had a chance to meet him, talk to him, obviously know his history, but great guy, great energy. A lot of the connectivity within the athletic department here is phenomenal, and then the community I'm starting to get into. Once work starts to lessen, I'll get more out in the community, but right now we're focused on trying to make Michigan State football better.
The timing of, I'm sure you've had other opportunities over your years. I guess was the timing just time to do something different?
Yeah, I think a couple things, right? Opportunity here was really good. I have had other opportunities, other places, other leagues, other stuff, right? Family-wise, it didn't work out. I've got 3 kids, and one that's in college as a senior, about to graduate, one that's a freshman in college, who's just started his college career as a football player, and then a daughter who will be in 8th grade next year. So timing is probably about right that way, but also really it's the opportunity, an opportunity to grow in the profession, opportunity to grow somewhere else, and see if we can do it somewhere else. If you look at Michigan State, my lens of Michigan State, okay, it started off initially as a player in 1999 when Norm Parker was my position coach, right? Norm Parker coached here. Norm was one of the toughest people I've ever met, right? He'd always talk about Michigan State and Michigan State toughness. And so I didn't really quite know, at the time. And then in 1999, we played here at Michigan State, got boat raced like 49-0, 49-3 maybe, against Nick Saban's team on that team. You have Plaxico Burris. You've got a teammate of mine, Ronaldo Hill, guy I really respect, as a player and in the coaching profession. Go down the list of players, Duckett, Baker, like all the names you can think of. They were all guys that just beat us up. So then the next year we played at home. I think it was homecoming, if I recall. We actually won that game when I was at Iowa. But you knew right away, like every time you line up against Michigan State, it's going to be a dogfight. And transition into coaching, the same thing, same way. And Iowa played Michigan State this year on Senior Day, and it came all the way down to the last moment, the last kick. So anytime you play against Michigan State, that's the expectation. And from an opponent standpoint, now have an opportunity to be here and see it live and meet the players. You got one sitting right behind you, but now you know why. Great kids here, great human beings, right, all the way across the board, people that want to win. So that stuff really, really excites me.
You mentioned that 2000 game, and I think it's interesting. That was a pivotal moment for your program at Iowa, because I think there was a long losing streak.
First Big Ten victory under Coach Ferentz.
And there had been a long losing streak for a while. How do you kind of translate that kind of energy? I mean, is this a program that can be a one game like that just jumpstarts everything?
Yeah, I feel like if you come to practice, you guys have all been to practice, I assume. Okay, have you stayed all the way through practice?
We're only allowed about 20 or 30 minutes. Or
okay, so I think if you watch practice, it's wild, because there are some things that remind me of what it was like during that time as a player. There's other times that, like, man, I think we're further ahead than that. But to answer your question, I do feel like there are some similarities in that, and I do feel like one game, one play, those are defining moments. And Coach D'Antonio talked about defining moments and defining who we are as a team. He referenced the Michigan State game with the snap and the punt that Michigan State ended up winning the game, and that was a defining moment, defining play, and I feel like we have that here.
LeVar, how far back does your relationship with Pat go? I know he was kind of hanging around Iowa a little bit last year with his son.
Yeah.
Does it go any further than that?
So,
how long have you known each other?
from a distance, known him. From a distance, he was a player. He was a great player. I was a freshman in the stands watching games, and this All-American linebacker is out there on the field. So that goes back all the way to that time. But as a competitor, unbelievable. Like watching him as a player, then transition to coaching against him. That's really where the relationship goes. And our sons, our friends, teammates, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good seeing him up close and personal too, and how he works and how he operates. And it's a lot of energy. If you're not prepared for energy, don't be around Pat Fitzgerald, or anyone really on this staff. It's a lot of fun.
I'm sure you got a lot to figure out, obviously, before we get to here. But generally, your philosophy, like, in terms of playing starters and teams roles, is that something that you look for or want, or would you rather sort of be an incubator for the younger guys? Like, what do you, sort of generally speaking?
I think all across the board, we're going to try to play the best players and to help this football team. And the guys have bought in. I've been very pleasantly surprised with the buy-in from players. Again, one sitting right behind you, who's also a starter on defense. And I think we're just trying to see who can help, where they can help, how much, how many phases, how many plays, all those kind of things. We'll sort through that throughout training camp. But philosophically, we want to play the best players, and if there's a way to bring a young guy along that helps your football team, because I think if you get the middle part of your roster, meaning not the true no doubt starters and the guys that they're not quite ready. If you get the middle of your roster to the point where all contributing, man, your team is much better.
Iowa's special teams have been known for return games, and I don't think that Michigan State's really had a consistent return game since Keyshawn Martin. So it's been a minute. But how do you what do you identify in a returner in terms of burst, wiggle versus ball protection, and that, whether it be punts or kickoffs, and how does Michigan State get back to that growth?
Yeah, so I think right away when you look at a returner, they have to be sure-handed. You have to be able to trust them. They have to be able to make decisions. Okay, fielding the ball, whether you're talking about punts or kicks, that's most important. Ball security is job security. That's for the players and for the coaches, right? So it starts with that. Then I do believe that a guy that has a little bit of confidence has something to them. Confidence, I think, can be built, right? And so that comes through practice, through the work, through the detailed preparation. And I think from there on, I was able to coach a returner last year who, once we got him through the confidence and the fielding and the fundamentals of fielding, man, then just let them go, right? You let them build their skills and you build the schemes around them and let them go. And don't want to overcoach guys too much, because some guys either have it or you don't from a burst and go standpoint. But I do believe every guy can be coached, every guy can be trained on the fundamentals, and that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're focused on right now.
From a general zoomed out level, just special teams across the board, what makes a good special teams player? What are the sort of core characteristics that,
Oh man,
that you see?
there's one right over your shoulder right now. I'm thinking about right now. Okay, he happens to play defense, right? Happens to play defense, but I do feel like this: where heart and desire, that's going to start off right away. You either want to do it or you don't. Okay, and again, some of that I think you can coach guys into confidence, right? It's a feeling, but then trying to get to the point where a guy that's physical, a guy that wants to hit somebody, whether you're talking about tackling or blocking, right? Every special teams play, and punt return game is your start on offense, you go to defense. It transitions within the play, similar to kickoff and kick return. So, guy's got to be smart. He's got to be tough. He's got to be physical, right? And he's got to be selfless for the football team. And that's what we're trying to find. That's what we're trying to do. We've got a series of drills we're working on right now, trying to identify those guys, yet still building the skills that they need to play.
Can you tell us about Reese? I think it is the punter
Yeah, Reese.
that's coming in. We're talking to soon.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about him? He's
What can I tell?
obviously followed you over here.
Yeah, what can I tell you about Reese? You want funny stories or you want?
Yeah.
Unbelievable kid, unbelievable human being, great family. Had an opportunity to go over to Australia and recruit him. Awesome family. It's funny because his family has not really been here to Michigan State. Their lens of America is mom is originally from Arizona, and then their son played at the University of Iowa. And I feel like once they get here, they're going to love this place, right? And see the fans and the support here. But it's talking about their family. But as far as Reese, great kid, diligent worker, focused guy, wants to be great. Right? He came here for a reason. He left his country. Like, think about that, right? Could you imagine being 20 years old or 19 years old, leaving your home country to a place you don't even know? Like, that's the commitment. That's the sacrifice. I feel like guys like Reese, like Coach Torrey Taylor. Before that's the sacrifice that players like that make and their families make. So I don't personally take that stuff lightly. So if a kid chooses to come here, I feel indebted to show them the way and lead them through to where they want to go to. But you'll get a chance to talk to Reese when he comes out here. But great kid.
How do Australians do with the elements?
Great.
The Big Ten elements.
No, I believe anything, man. Like great players come from everywhere. If you just look at this roster alone. Okay, you've got guys from Australia, Hawaii, just working from west to east. Washington, California, work all the way down. Boise, I've met a guy from Boise. I told Rakeem Johnson, you're my first friend from Idaho, man. I've never known anyone from Idaho. And I've lived and kind of been all over. But you work all the way across. There's great players everywhere. Elements, it's just a thing, right? It's a data point. So once you figure out what it's going to be, okay, so today I need to wear sleeves, or today I need to wear gloves. I don't know. I mean, just think about it. There's, again, a Coach Torrey Taylor who grew up in Melbourne, Australia. He punts in Chicago. Doesn't seem to bother him. So once you get over that hurdle, that hump, then I think things are fine. And one thing I just want to hit on here, I think it's very unique here, my experience, again, just whatever 10, 12 weeks I've been here. Again, there are players from everywhere on this roster, but the kids here, my vantage point is they love this place. I asked right away, I asked Alessio and I asked Jordan Hall. When I first came here, they were the first two players I met. I said, well, why did you stay? What made you stay here? And they tell me about Michigan State, because I don't know, right? And they all raved about the campus, the family, the Spartan family of being here. To me, that's important, right? And again, both those guys are from different spots, right? East Coast, right here in the Midwest. But people come from everywhere, and it's just like the NFL, man. People come from everywhere. There's great players from everywhere. It's all really about the relationships you have and the people you're around every day. The energy in the building, I think, is through the roof in this place, and positively. And so we're just trying to build and trying to move forward.
How was Reese's development? Again, you've been there at the granular level.
Sure.
I mean, you hear a lot about the Australian guys being rugby style, but he doesn't necessarily do that, right?
Reese can do whatever we set him up to do, but I feel like Reese is a pocket punter with the ability to roll out, right, rather than in reverse. It's sort of again, we're going to try to do whatever is best for the players, and whatever they do best, we're going to try to build around that. But his development, again, start off every freshman they come to their team. They think they know because they did all this stuff in high school or their previous school in regards to Reese, and then they realize they kind of come in blind, right? Come in blind, and you guys, I don't know if it was like for you when you were young, but thought I knew everything. And then all of a sudden you figure out after in year two, hey, I guess I really didn't know. I was kind of blind faith early on. So there's a little bit of up and down with guys. Every player I've ever coached, any level, any position. I don't think that's anything different with punters. Okay, and particularly you mentioned Reese. Like there's ups, and hey, he does some stuff very good naturally. Then we're trying to build the foundation, and then okay, boom, there's some ups and downs in development. It's the only way that you can actually get better is to get worse.
The leg style that, because I mean there's been a big run maybe for the last 10, 15 years
For Australians?
Like, what is it with the leg strength, leg style that they are attractive to coaches?
Yeah, so a couple analogies I like to use, right? I had my son when he was playing youth baseball. Right, you go to youth baseball, you go to batting practice, and boom, the ball's coming off the aluminum bat. Like, okay, yeah, you really hit that. Then you go watch major league batting practice, and first off, the bats are different, right? But you can tell the speed, the power, the crack of the bat, way different, right? Way different. Now you look at sometimes we're just talking about Australians. They grew up, right? All of us in America playing football, we grew up passing the ball with our hands. They grew up passing it with their feet, right? So there's inherently a bunch of more reps in there that their hand to foot, eye to foot coordination is different than eye to hand coordination that Americans have. So it's just a little bit different. They're a little bit more advanced per se, but some of them are older too by age. You know, you're a little bit more physically mature. But in general, I would say those are the things that stand out. They pass with their feet, and that's the game that they grew up playing, versus us growing up passing the ball with our hands.
You guys kind of broke their heart last year on special teams, Michigan State's. For any returning players, do you have to smooth over any relationships or anything like that when you got here?
Not that I'm aware of. You want to help me on this? No? Oh, good. No, my experience here has been the players have been awesome. The players want to be coached, right? And they want to be held accountable, and that's what we're seeing. That's what we're getting. I don't want to speak for any other coaches, but I feel like that's what we're getting. I've been pleasantly surprised. I've actually been shocked a little bit because the kids really, really are into it. I think there's still another level, still another gear that we can go, because we're in the kiddie pool right now. We're just installing things and, the basics of special teams, basics of playing football. We're trying to make football players, not position players, and everyone's responded and doing well, and I think it's just going to continue to get better.
Is there something sort of appealing or energizing for you as a coach where it's a new chapter here, whereas at Iowa it's not to say that nothing changed, but it's kind of been set for decades, you know what I'm saying?
For sure. So if you think of it, just to put things in perspective, I was at Iowa as a coach for 18 years. Right? For 18, that's a lifespan of most kids that when they come in here as freshmen, which is crazy to think about, right? Because the longevity there, and Coach Ferentz is amazing, does an amazing job, and I'm grateful for every opportunity I had there. There's also something exciting about building and doing it from the ground up. I did it as a player there, right? Then when there was a change, and Hayden Fry, one Hall of Famer retires, here comes the next Hall of Famer with Coach Ferentz. And I saw that as a player. I didn't see it as a coach. But right now, it's exciting for me to be doing that as a coach and building this program from the ground up with Coach Fitzgerald and the rest of the staff. The staff's been absolutely amazing. Whether you're talking about actual position coaches, guys that are analysts, right? The people in support roles, unbelievable. Like, I am shocked at the talent level in this building.
What were the conversations like when, you mentioned about 18 years ago? I mean, that was when Mark got here and the program here was on the build up.
Sure.
But you guys had some battles in that time with Kirk and Martin. Just wondering what the Iowa side of that conversation was like. Did it feel like a rivalry that was growing?
I don't know if rivalry is the right word, because there was a time, if you remember in scheduling in the Big Ten, you'd play one and then be off two, and then you wouldn't see teams for a couple of years. But I would say anytime we lined up against Michigan State, it was going to be a battle. And I'm speaking for Iowa, but also speak anyone in the conference. They all know it, right? We all talk about it. A lot of talent, a lot of ability, physical team, tough team, right? And you go to Coach D'Antonio's teams, like, man, those boom, boom, boom. That's ratcheted up a notch, right? The greatest game I've ever seen live in person is 2015, and we're playing in the Big Ten championship game. That play went all the way down to the last moment, and I was upset at the time at Iowa because, right, we lost that game, but now I completely see where that came from after being inside this building.
You mentioned Nakai Martinez. Are there other 2 or 3 other special teams guys that have caught your eye that you want to mention that have?
Yeah, there's a handful of guys. So one guy I saw up close and personal again. he was at a different school at Iowa State, was Trey Bell. He's the only player that I saw that I can recall, at least last year, that truly made a play and took our returner down in Legion, and that was Trey Bell. And lo and behold, like the first transfer portal recruiting day, who's on the list? Trey Bell. I was like, I don't know anything, but we need that guy, you know. But he's done a really good job from my vantage point that I've seen. There's a handful of other guys. Majid's done a really good job. Avion Gross done a really good job. I see those guys like really taking it and really going forward. All the linebackers are kicking butt. The tight ends, I'm telling you, I could sit here and talk all day about it, but I think the buy-in's been really good. I think players are really showing up. Guys are trying. Taplin, Elmore, Collier, McCray. I mean, these guys are awesome right now. And I'm skipping and missing a whole bunch of people, but they're really putting in the time and putting in the effort.
All right, last one, are you guys good?
Good.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Good.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.